Live desk this afternoon, a police chase taking a very scary turn while our cameras were rolling, and you're looking at it right there. Guns being pulled after a fight in the middle of the street. This guy taking off. They were on this aggravated assault suspect's trail all throughout the East Valley. The guy had reportedly tried to carjack that motorcyclist there, and then we saw him getting on freeways and getting on surface streets and alternating between them, hopping back on the 202, then making his way on the I-10 west down toward Tucson. We're now hearing shots were fired from that white truck, which, by the way, police tell us was stolen. They had to use a pit maneuver to try to get him to stop out there. The truck finally rolling over down near Riggs Road on the I-10. The guy thrown from the truck. We are hearing at this point he is alive. That's from our crews out in the field. In fact, let's get to some of our crews. Navita Forgani has been heading down south on the I-10 toward Tucson to try to get an update for us on this. Navita, are you there? And where did this start specifically is the information that we want to get from her. We know that in Marana there was some sort of aggravated assault that was reported. A truck was stolen. Police finally say that they tracked down their man finally in Mesa, and that's when this whole chase started. And you're looking at some pictures that were coming in earlier today as he made his way on and off surface streets and getting back on the freeway, dodging in and out of traffic. As you see pedestrians right there making their way across the street, going through busy, high traffic areas to evade police, to get away from them. And this pursuit went on for nearly 30 minutes before, as we told you, that crash happening south of the valley. Let's check in with some of our crews on the phone right now to find out what more they know.
And right now we're going to talk to Dr. Jim Ness. Can you open up my microphone with us? Are we up?
Okay, there we go. We're going to talk to Dr. Jim Ness. He's on the phone right now. He's a former chief of police in Illinois. Dr. Ness, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. As we've been watching this for the past 30 minutes or so, and obviously it's ended now, and this is video that we're seeing on ABC 15 News at 6. Tell us exactly how police handle a pursuit like this, especially during rush hour.
Well, safety of the community is utmost. They have to think about what's going to go on. I mean, is it worth chasing somebody? I mean, this guy apparently had some felony
aggravated assault charge is why they were initially after him.
So, but with the helicopter, when you can track somebody through the air, the police sometimes have a tendency to back off, and I mean, this calms the driver and into hopefully making a mistake or something or other of that particular nature. But again, departments have to follow policy, and if you just can't go out and chase somebody because they've committed this particular crime. You have to fall within policy and think about the safety of everybody else. Apparently, they did use the PIT maneuver on this individual, did they not?
That is true, and that's what we're hearing, and that's eventually how he lost control. Again, this is video that we're watching from earlier today, about 20 minutes ago. Right?
Dr. Ness, let me ask you this question. How did the policies change, generally speaking? Because, again, we know that you were the former chief of police there in Illinois, but I do know you have 50 years of experience, so you must know from speaking with other law enforcement agencies, your counterparts in other agencies, sort of how the policy changes between residential neighborhoods and main streets, and also then, as we saw there on interstate highways, I-10, where that pit maneuver was used.
Well, again, policy is going to change, and each department is going to have a variety of different policies. In Florida, probably, Orange County, I believe it is, has probably one of the most restrictive pursuit policies in the United States, while others justify only if the suspect is engaged in some kind of violent act or someone is seriously hurt, or if the suspect was allowed to escape. So again, policy is going to dictate what's going to go on. Now, if it's a clear day and little traffic, probably pursuit could be justified. But if there's a lot of traffic, if there's clogged traffic, in the afternoon when there's school buses and children and, residents and people driving home, is probably not worth the risk. And a supervisor will make that particular decision as to what they're going to do.
When you have a situation like we saw earlier today, and I don't know if you got a chance to see the video where the guy gets out of the truck, he gets into an altercation, a fist fight actually, with the guy on the motorcycle, trying to carjack that motorcycle. When you look at situations like that and how a particular suspect is driving erratically, does that change the way you decide how to attack this particular pursuit?
Well, yes, it would. As you saw in the video, when I was watching it live, the officers got out of their vehicle. They had their guns drawn. They were ready to engage the suspect at that particular time. But again, there was a lot of traffic around. And you have to think about the safety of all the other people around, not just what's going on at that particular time.
Dr. Ness, is there a red line, essentially, where if this person does this, we absolutely have to throw every resource we possibly have at stopping him?
I don't think there's a red line or we have to do this. Departments are bound by policy, and if you're within policy and follow policy, this is what you have to go by. And if we had a red line, or if we just had the ability to chase somebody at will, I don't think that would be good for the community.
Sure, and I think the community would agree with you. Dr. Jim Ness, you've had 50 years of law enforcement experience. We appreciate you on the phone with us today. Thank you so much for your insight. Right now, we want to get back to the live desk with Katie with an update on what we're learning now.
And let's take you to some live pictures. We've actually got Air 15 right back up there, and you can see how this truck, the truck that they were after, has rolled over right there on the freeway. An ejection happening. He was ejected from the vehicle as well. We understand at this point they are telling us this guy is still alive. We'll get an update as soon as we can on his condition. Of course, a 4-mile backup going on beyond this scene. If you come back out here to me live, I want to show you where this is happening at, so you can see just how far along the I-10 headed down south near Riggs Road. But we've got a 4-mile backup behind it there. And I want to show you another picture just coming in from Trevor Smith, our photographer out there on the scene. You can see just the line of traffic out there. So if you are headed south, this is probably not the time to do it. You want to postpone your travel down south of the valley. Let's check in with ABC 15's Navita Fergani. She joins us with more details. And Navita, we understand they were able to stop this guy by deciding to use the pit maneuver.
That's exactly right. It caused him to lose control, and right now that truck is on its side right here on the I-10 westbound lane. So he was actually headed east on the I-10, and his car is completely on the other side, flipped over towards the median. Cars are backed up. We're hearing people asking, hey, is there another way out of this literal traffic jam? Because they are stuck here as officers now have to conduct an investigation. Now, this is what I'm learning. This actually started in Marina. This suspect was wanted for failing to yield aggravated assault and stealing a vehicle. At some point, Mesa police caught up to him in Mesa, started chasing him, and then we saw everything unfold, of course, on Air 15. Again, we're trying to learn a lot more about this suspect. We did just see the ambulance take off, headed back to Phoenix with the suspect inside. I am being told that he is alive. But again, this was probably not as much traffic as the suspect was experiencing in the valley or in Phoenix, so it's probably a lot safer for officers to do that pit maneuver to get the suspect to stop before he can go any further. Back to you guys.
So stay with us on the phone there, Navita. One of the things in this pit maneuver, for those of you who are not familiar with this at home, the patrol car is going to tap that car that they're after, or in this case, the white truck, try to get him to lose control out there on the roads. Now, people who train in this kind of stuff say it feels like you hit a patch of ice. So almost the suspect in this case wouldn't even know that they'd been hit necessarily. They lose control that quick when trying to get away from police. So that's what happened out there. They were given permission to do that and have enough safe space to do that. And Navita, what more do we know about who this guy is? I know this is so early in the investigation, and it sounds like they're going to have to keep this area closed for a while as they're only beginning this investigation.
Yeah, like I said, this all started closer to Tucson. he stole a car, allegedly. He also was wanted for aggravated assault and failing to yield to officers. So that's where this whole thing started. Again, I don't know how yet he wound up in Mesa and how Mesa found out about him and started to pursue him, but obviously there was an alert out for him. I am also being told that this guy had a mentality of suicide by cop, so he was willing to die. That's been told to my sources. So, again, I'm still working on my sources. I'm trying to figure out who this guy is, and as soon as I get more information, I'll get back to you guys.
Well, it just proves how scary that situation was that unfolded right there on surface streets earlier. While this chase was going on, he had been out on the freeway, chose to get off the freeway, head on some of the surface streets, and that's when we saw one of the scariest scenes where he, it looks like, attempted to carjack a motorcycle that was in front of his car in the way. A fist fight happened between these two guys. He finally jumps on the guy's bike like he's about to take off. The biker not having it, shoves him over off the bike. And when he realizes he's not going to get away with that, see, here he is. He runs up to the guy on the bike, pulls him off. He fights for his bike, tries to keep it. Obviously not ever recommended by police. But then look here, the guy gets onto the motorcycle and the other one, the bike owner, shoves him right off. As he runs back, two get out of their cars, and it looks like these are now identified as officers. And we can tell because they had vests on, also a clip around their leg there, and they could have taken their shot, but there are so many people to consider, innocent bystanders out there on the street that they have to protect, that they just were not able to take their shot there, and the guy takes off again. He gets back onto the freeway, heads south on the 101, even gets off in the Chandler areas, driving on the curb, not caring about any lives out there, then gets back on the freeway heading south on the I-10, and that's finally, ladies, where he was ejected. We'll continue to follow even more on this.
All right, we're going to take a break right now. We do have crews that are on the scene where that motorcycle fight happened, so we're going to get to them as well as get you some more information as police continue to answer our questions on a police pursuit that ended south of the valley. We're back right after this.